8-year-old Giselle Ford was found lifeless in her home. Then police found her journal, revealing the shocking truth. This is the story of Giselle, a young girl with a big heart and even bigger dreams. It is a story that everyone should see, and one that, unfortunately, is real. Giselle's tragic tale represents the hundreds of thousands of other children who suffer daily at the hands of those who are supposed to love and protect them. Her story is a cry for help, a wake-up call that we must heed to ensure no other child endures the same fate. Like many other children, Giselle was a happy, curious, and intelligent child. She loved school and was good at making new friends. For her, going to class was the best part of her day. It was her refuge, a place where she could be herself in freedom. She knew that as long as she was at school, she would not be afraid and that no one would hurt her, a somewhat strange feeling for a girl her age, but one that becomes clear when we learn the chilling truth about her family. Known to her friends as Gizzy, Giselle wrote in a rainbow-striped journal. The pages of her diary were not adorned with the innocent stories of most children. Instead, they revealed a shocking and heartbreaking tale of abuse and tragedy. Giselle's mother had died during childbirth, leaving her to grow up alone with her father, Andre Ford, who was bedridden from a rare degenerative disease, and her strict grandmother, Helen Ford. Helen was a reserved woman whom no one really knew, with a reputation among neighbors that leaned more towards fear than respect. She avoided any interaction with the community, and her control over the family was absolute. Helen was the head of the household. She took care of everyone and everything, including Andre's medical care and Giselle's upbringing. Helen's strong-willed nature left no room for argument, something Giselle quickly understood. Whenever seen with her grandmother, the little girl remained completely silent, waiting for instructions. The family's only official income came from the widow's allowance Helen received after her husband's death. Gerald Ford had been a well-known Texas lawyer who died under mysterious circumstances 15 years ago. Officially, it was ruled that Gerald died of a severe allergic reaction, but the community harbored doubts and suspicions about the true cause of his death. Outwardly, the Fords seemed like a normal family, despite Helen's bad temper. However, the pages of Gizzy's diary, later found by the police, painted a different and unimaginable picture of life in their home. The tragic events unfolded on July 12, 2013, when Giselle Ford was found dead in her grandmother's filthy, vermin-infested home in Austin, Texas. The news devastated the community. Despite the family's complicated and somewhat strange reputation, no one could have guessed the hell Giselle was living in. The autopsy revealed that Giselle had suffered a long and agonizing death. She had been repeatedly beaten, as evidenced by the bruises and scars on her body. However, it was not the beatings that killed her. The official cause of death was strangulation, possibly with a rope. Her hands and ankles showed signs of having been tied for hours, and scars on her wrists indicated prolonged abuse. A wound on the back of her neck, infested with maggots, suggested a deep cut inflicted with a very sharp knife. Neighbors were shocked by the revelation. That woman had evil in her eyes, one neighbor told a local newspaper. I always told my wife when we passed in front of her house. She would tell me that I was exaggerating, but it has become clear that I was right. It was a terrible event that we all could have avoided. Despite the abuse, Gizzy went to school every day as if nothing was wrong. She was a laughing child, beloved by her teachers for her dedication and good behavior. No one could have deduced the magnitude of the family problems she was enduring. Giselle's journal, found during the police investigation, revealed the full extent of her suffering. The diary was full of notes detailing her abuse. Each page seemed taken from a horror novel, describing punishments, beatings, and deprivation of food and water. Her father, despite his illness, was complicit, as evidenced by videos on his phone documenting the abuse. On July 11, 2013, Gizzy wrote her last diary entry, "I hate this life. If I'm in big trouble and I can't run away, I think this is the end." Her handwriting, once beautiful, had become irregular, indicating her fear and anguish. Despite the hell she was living, Giselle's diary also contained entries about her dreams and hopes. She wrote about her love for school and her ambition to become a teacher. "I'm going to be a smart and good young lady. I'd love to become a teacher," she wrote in early 2013. "People say I'm smart, brave, and pretty. I don't want to let them down. I'll study hard to go far and get into a good university." The police investigation revealed that the judicial system had failed Giselle. A family services investigator had visited her home about a month before her death, but no action was taken. A doctor specializing in child abuse had examined her, but did not report suspicious injuries. After almost a year of investigation, Helen Ford was prosecuted by Judge Evelyn Clay. The judge was outraged by the abuse Giselle had endured and sought to set a precedent with the case. "This murder was torture," Clay said. "That girl suffered a slow and agonizing death. The treatment you gave to that girl was evil, Mrs. Ford. Such an inhuman act only deserves the worst punishment. For people like you, there is no redemption." Helen Ford was sentenced to life imprisonment for murder. Giselle's father could not be punished as he had died of his illness before the case went to court. However, the punishment of Helen Ford could not bring Giselle back to life. Her death could have been avoided if the system had acted as it should have. Now we can only remember Giselle with affection and pray for her soul to find rest. No one deserves to go through what she went through, least of all a child.